Okay guys, so it's Wednesday and you can see all these lumps and stuff that are over here where I was plowing have turned to rocks. This area in here I'm not worried about plowing right now because all I gotta do is start the backhoe and I'll rip through all this stuff with that. Right now I'm busy working up at the house. You can see the kiln is pretty cleared off of snow. It did it by itself. Let's see, 80, 70, 60 degrees in there today. So we got 60 degrees in the kiln. Everything's working in there, it looks like, which is good. So I'm going to be working on TV cable today up at the house. So I'll show you that when I go. Right now it's looking like the middle of January. I was mentioning to one of the other viewers that a herd of deer went through here last night. That's one set of tracks. Where did I see? Actually they're down further, but yeah, here, another set. So they were going through here. They didn't do any digging up or anything. They just sort of went through and into the woods over there. But down that way there's a whole bunch of tracks coming from the woods behind the house here and coming out and then crossing the road. Okay guys, so I'm assuming that everybody knows what a TV cable outlet looks like. And basically you run coax from one box to the other. Now there is a problem with it, like this box here for instance. This camera seems to be focusing very slow for some reason. Anyway, when you have two wires coming into a box, you have to use a splitter, and I don't know of any other type of splitter. This is a sort of big to be putting back in that box, and it makes it really hard to put together. But anyway, you use a splitter when you have two wires coming in here. So what's going on at the moment is the cable goes into this bedroom that's downstairs and eventually comes up to right in here because there's going to be a television or monitor hanging up there someday, and it ends. So then the other one comes in to here from the outside now, or no, it comes into here from the outside and then goes over to there. So there's a single one over there. The single ones are really easy to put together. The other ones here are kind of hard to put together. So I'll just show you how that works. So what we have here is this is a TV cable, a box for TV cable, and the cable comes from one of these cables go to above the fire, well not the fireplace, but where the coal stove is. Okay, one goes there, and the other one goes to the other side of this room in case somebody that lives here may want to move the television or the bed or whatever in the bedroom. My mom was a great one for moving furniture every other day. So that's kind of why I do that, put the receptacles different places. But when you have two wires coming in here, if you have one wire, and the best way to run cable for television really is to just bite the bullet and run the cable, a single cable, to every outlet. It makes it a whole lot easier than having to use these splitters. But anyway, for right now, I am going to use the splitter. I'm going to force it into the box after I get all these wires hooked to it. And you can see the reason for it takes up a lot of space because it's solid from this end of the cable to where this end would be. So you really don't have a lot that you can wiggle around and bend things all over the place. So anyway, that's how that goes. But you're better off running the cable from outside, single cables, especially in a new house, to every outlet. Now you could take these and you could put these on the wall, but I don't really like the way they look, so I don't want them to be exposed. I want them inside the box. And then after you get them in the box, what happens is, like I say, I know everybody knows what these looks like, or I guess you do. So you run this cable. The cable that's coming in here with the TV signal goes to the inside of this. Then there's two outsides, hence the splitting part, right? So one of this wire got to go onto the outs part, and then one has to go from there to here. See, if you just had one wire, you could easily put it onto one wire and put it against the wall and be done with it. But that's not what's happening here. Because of the splitter, I have to use, because of the two wires coming into one box, I have to use the splitter. Like I say, I don't know of any smaller splitter or a better way to join these than what I'm doing here. I would imagine that they make something, but it would be nice if they had a little T like this. In fact, come to think of it, it would be nice if they had one facing this way, one facing that way, and then one facing out as a T put together, so that all you had to do was, put all those on the cable, but they don't, and right now this is what I have to work with. So the one piece that goes from there to the outlet then is really short, because don't forget, you're already taking up pretty much of the box. The box is about 3.5 inches deep or so, or 3 inches deep, and it's taking up most of this space from here to here. So it's really tough to get this last one in. In fact, it's just a matter of, you're putting one connector on the wire, and the next connector is almost right against it. So I'll show you that as I go with it. So you can see that the way that splitter's pushed in there, there's not a lot of room between there and the back of this connector that's coming on here. Okay, so we need to put a short piece from this to this. And it's it's not an easy task to get it on there, or even to get this thing into the box so that it's straight. But we're going to try it. So anyway, I'll show you how you put these cables together then. Okay, so I have a piece of cable here, a short piece, and you put these on the same way for whether the cable's long, short, or whatever, the connector. There's not a lot to it, it's just a screw-on type of connector. All you do is come down here about 3/4 of an inch, okay, and take and score your knife all the way around that. You want to watch you don't cut yourself. But anyway, you can score it, and chances are you can pull that off. You can see it's already coming off there. So I'm going to pull that off. And then I'm going to take the braiding that's in here. Okay. Now you want to be careful when you score this around the wire. You want to just sort of roll it around there with putting a very light pressure on, because you don't want to cut all of this off of here, because you actually need this stuff. So that when you put the connector on, it makes a circuit to this little fibers here. Alright, so then you cut that open. And what you need here, this is a roughly 3/4 of an inch. You need about a 1/2 inch on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cable, or this wire cutter here, and I'm going to cut this and pull that off of there. So now you can see that you have the wire as well as the covering. So then you just take the cable connector. You want to look at the very end there, make sure there's nothing metallic-y hitting the copper. Okay? And you want to just take the cable connector. It's a good way to hold this thing. Can't even hold it. Yeah, okay, so, oh, drop that one. So here's the cable connector. Okay? All you do is take it, and the back side of it now, push the wire through and start twisting it onto that. You can leave these fibers stick out through here, these little pieces of wire, until you're done. What you want when you're finished is for the white part of the cable to be just inside the collar that's down inside there. Well, let me just see if I can show you this. Here, there's like a white collar, the white wrapping that's on the cable. You want that to be at the bottom of the inside of this nut. and make this as tight as you can. Now sometimes it's hard for me to grab that. I don't know if it's age or what, but so if I use these type of pliers that I have here, it makes it a little bit easier to grab the wire and screw that onto there. Okay, so then the copper that's sticking out, you don't need a great big piece there. I could actually cut a little bit of that off there. If you have 1/8 of an inch or so beyond the end of the cable adapter here sticking out, that's about all you need. And like I say, as far as the other stuff goes, that's where you can take your knife or something else if you want, gently just, you know, cut off these pieces of cable that are on here, the wire. So one is, you know, one part of the circuit is these little fibers, and the other part of the circuit then would be the wire in the center, the copper wire that's in the center. So that's basically all it is to put one of them on there. It's not hard. Now, because we don't have very much room in here, because that's about as far as it's going to go, we only can come here with a very short piece to put the other one on. So they're sort of almost like this. Okay, that's about as close as they have to be. So figuring 1/8 of an inch past the end of that, we want to cut this right about where my hand is there, or my thumb. So we'll cut that off. And then we'll figure coming back here about 1/2 of an inch, or 3/4 of an inch rather, which is about, oh, I should come a little further, I think. I'm not come that far. So I've put a cut around that, and there you can see I pulled the cable off. It's hard to, you got to get a feel for this. Once you get the feel for cutting this, it's not hard to do, but you know, expect to cut yourself a couple times till you're said and done, until you get used to handling the knife and everything. So anyway, now we'll take the other wire cutters. We need roughly 1/2 of an inch here, so I'm going to right about here. And that's what I have at the moment. So I want to make sure that these are peeled back and there's nothing hitting that copper wire. And then I'm going to screw this onto there now. Now, like I say, the smaller they get like this, the harder it is to hold it and all, but you can do it as long as you just give yourself a little bit of patience and stuff. So we end up with something that looks something like that. I'm going to trim off these extra wires and trim that off. I just want to make sure it's all the way down on. And that's about it. Then we'll put that into here, okay, and then screw the plate onto that and force this into there so that we can get the plate to be mounted to the front of the box. And that's it, all there is to it. So then this is what a single one looks like. There's a single cable coming in there. All you do is put the connector on the end of the cable the way I showed you there. And then you just take this cover, take the cable and make it so it's like a loop. You loop the cable like a snake or an S, and then just push it against the wall, and you put the screws in there, and you can fasten those screws. Let me just back up a little here. Yeah, put the screws in and fasten it against the wall, and you have a nice finished look there. So it's really not difficult, it's just that there's 8 of them for me to do. So this is the, I think the 4th one. So I got 4 more and then I'll be finished with them. There's only 3 that have the double wires in, which are a little bit of a pain, but it is what it is. So you just do it to get done. So you know, there was a time when GE...
Okay, I'm ready to leave the house to go out, and I'll stop at your place first.
Okay, thanks, bye. There was a...
Shall I lock this door or leave it open? Or Florida door?
Lock it, please.
What was that?
It makes no sense to me. You know, you pay more and get less.
Honey,
Okay, I don't know where I was. My wife keeps calling me on the radio because her car door's frozen shut and she wants to go somewhere and she can't get in the car. So I'm going to have to go down and fix that. But anyway, I'm just saying, these screws are ultra small. These are like medium but not big enough. These are the ones that we ought to be using. Okay? And that little bit of a difference, if you can't get the box against the wall tight, could be the reason why you have to pay $15 to $45 or $65 extra to have something done that you normally would not have to pay extra for. Okay? And why should the contractor eat that as well? I mean, if the contractor buys, you know, stuff that he's always bought, and now he needs one more, so he picks up one, who would even think to sit there and just try and figure out whether the screws are the right size? But not only that, when the cover's inside this panel, these screws are inside of a little plastic case, and they're behind the cover, so you can't see them anyway. This is what is annoying in this country with all the junk that we've imported. Again, I'm assuming that this is China. And if it's not China, then I apologize. Okay, so I give up trying to make the video on explaining these cover plates. I hope I got it on there. My wife called me 5 times while I was trying to make videos to tell me that her car door won't open because it's frozen shut. So I just went down there. And after she dumped hot water on the car, after she got a propane torch out, which, you know, I'm envisioning the car exploding, she finally got the door open by the time I drove down there with the four-wheeler. So, anyway, and I don't understand something else. Why is it that people have to go shopping before every storm? I thought that's why we had freezers and cabinets full of food. I don't get it. Okay guys, so then what I do after I have all, I hope this focuses, after I have all the television outlets in, okay, what I do is I jump them. I have a little connector that goes from the center, very center, come on you, from the very center to the outside of that coax connector, and it just makes a loop. So what I'll do is I'll put the connector I have inside that so that it makes a loop, and then I'll take this thing and I'll go outside and I'll just put the tone on, okay, and as long as I get a tone on there, I can tell where the cable is running to. For instance, like this one would be the office area, so I would say, okay, I'll label that with a piece of duct tape and a marker for the office, another one for the living room, another one for the bedroom, or wherever the cables are. And I also, as well as mark them, I also have on my computer a floor plan of the building, and what I'll do is I'll give it a circuit number, and maybe in this case Cat 1, Cat 2, or Cat 3, or whatever I decide. It could be TV1, T1, it doesn't matter, telephone or whatever. I'll put a circuit number on the computer with an example of what it means, and then I'll just have that on a digital form of information about the house. Okay guys, so while my wife was in town, Yahoo, she got the mail, and it was 8 of these batteries from my camera in there. Probably take me a week to charge them, but anyway, I should be able to start making longer videos now. Yeehaw.